right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back tonight, and we are playing more Swords of the Serpentine, and we are starting up a brand new arc. So some time has passed. We have finished up our Tidebreakers Day arc, and now we're going to start a new one. As you can see, we're down along. That's because it's because he's sick. I was going to make a joke, but then I felt really bad because he's sick, and I don't want to push him down even further. But yeah, he'll be back next week. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. But yeah, we're back. We had some time has passed. We get to kind of play around. You all had some points to spend to increase your characters here and there. I also let them have a little bit of a lemon law since it was our first time playing. If they wanted to rearrange a few things, and that's how that goes. So, okay, you want to just dive in and we can introduce maybe some changes that you might have done in the nature of the narrative. Like if you change some items or if you change some skills or however it might be, we'll kind of go from there. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I missed this game. It feels like we haven't played it in a while, but it's only been 2 weeks. And that's just the nature of when we play all the time.
It seems like so long.
It's because we play all the time. And then when you miss one, I was saying to Melissa right before we got on, I'm like, I don't remember how to play. We just played 2 weeks ago and I've forgotten everything. And Melissa was just like
5 games. So
yeah.
Well, we get a heart die, which is a D4, and a gift die, which is a D6.
It's D20s, right? It was D20.
D20s, yeah. That sounds right.
I know, and I got Savage Worlds on the brain too because I'm gonna be running some Han cluster soon, so I have that on my brain now. So it's like, geez, okay. Anyhow, we missed an Otherscape on Monday, so when we get back to Otherscape on Monday, I'm not gonna what's this? What do we do?
Tags?
Is this a D100? I don't understand. Tags? What? All right. So let's get, let's see. What do we want to do? Let's do a little, just get a little music going here and we'll get started. So time has passed. So black screen, we'll say, right? 4 years later, 5 years later comes up. We know some time has passed since the events of Tidebreakers Day. In that time, you haven't necessarily faced any life or death situations yet for the main Wallen family. Like you've managed to, things have been relatively calm as they ever can be with your group. You haven't been attacked, you haven't been killed, nothing like that. But we open. We'll say it's a bright, beautiful day. We'll say that as we start to fade in on Eversink, we see its immense sprawl. We see the beautiful blue skies, seagulls flocking all over the place. We fly over all the scattered islets and docks and ships of Sag Harbor. Some vessels docked, some anchored out in the water. We see mercanti vessels importing and exporting all manner of goods. We see strong-backed stevedores moving cargo from ship to warehouse to ship. We kind of fly over these twisting and turning alleys of the Tangle. We see pickpockets, lurking shadows, thieves scurrying across the rooftops. We see some of the foreigner districts as well. This industrious series of forages of Came Town, the flame-colored silk rows of Little Erebos, and the stepped terraces of what's it called? How do you pronounce your country, Arkadiy? Irrivelian?
Luzrek. He's from the city of Luzrek. And
that's a city.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's the Irrelevian quarter.
Irrelevian.
I'm in trouble. And then finally, so it's somewhat difficult. And finally, we kind of come over the riches of Alderhall, right, where the nobles have laid claim. We see the dome of the Opera House. We see the rising necropolis that is not suffering any sort of pageantry today. It is not Tidebreakers Day. But we do see that the Bonaventure estate still stands and is still in the control of the Bonaventures, but certainly seems less illustrious than the last time we saw it. And we also see that the Peacock contingent seems to be less populated. But we're going to jump around here. We're going to start with Chauncey. Chauncey, where would he be on this just average day Nothing particularly special about today. No holiday. Where would Chauncey be right about now, you think?
Well, frankly, right now, we mentioned those stevedores that are moving around, and Chauncey's just standing, brimming with pride, looking at his friend. He's fidgeting with his new uniform, but he stands a statuesque figure as Pisspot Randy's beard has been trimmed. He's wearing a proper doublet. There's even like the symbol of looks like a little fox jumping through a crown tilted on its side or some such. But yeah, there's a bunch of stevedores working beneath Randy, and they seem to be in tip-top condition, and he's just giving kudos to his old friend. You've really pulled this together.
Well, I guess I have. I guess, I've been really working on it. It's really you and your managerial style kind of giving me the space to take ownership of something. I really appreciate it, Chauncey. Most folk just kind of write me off, but...
No, heavens no. I remember when we were 8 years old, eating our own belts. Who went down in the sewers to go hunting for rats? Barefoot, no less. It was you.
Wait, what did I do? I honestly, I don't have memory of that, but I'll take your word for it. I took a lot of hits during Neil Ball, so...
And that's the thing. It's like you're a real team player, and I know I can always count on you, and I'm extremely grateful for you. I like talking in the background, but you are a man meant to be seen and followed, and these men follow you.
Well, I mean, right now they're just they're going from that ship there, and they're going down that dock, and then they're gonna bring stuff in the ware. I'm just standing over here, so they're actually walking away from me right now. But
right. Because they know under your watch there will be no lollygagging.
Well, I mean, a little lollygagging's okay. I mean, we're not like we're not the city watch, We can have a little bit of fun, right?
Well, of course, you deserve a little bit. You're still far better than any other group that works here.
Oh, well, anyhow, I appreciate it. I haven't had a drink today, so I'm feeling pretty proud of myself on that front. And I think, what is it we're moving exactly, by the way?
Well, that's where the pride of our discretion comes into play.
The pride of it's illegal?
Oh, it's perfectly legal. We have a contract and everything. But we don't need to worry ourselves about what's in these crates. What matters is that we move them, we never open them, and we are people that can be trusted with the utmost discretion and efficiency.
Okay, well, I think I understand where we sit, and I think I'm just gonna go take a look at what the boys are doing, making sure they're putting everything in the right place, that sort of thing. Is there anything you need me to do there, big fella?
No, I think you've got it. I did hear that Lavinia was asking about you the other day.
What did she say and I did? Because I didn't.
No, she was actually talking about, you've really turned a leaf for yourself. And
No, I quit that. It was getting in my head and I was getting fuzzy and I couldn't really remember nothing. So I'm not turning no leaf no more, sir.
I think she wants you to remember her, and I might just keep a table set for you maybe come this Saturday.
Oh, you mean like she wants a husband? Is that what you're saying?
Well, maybe you're a man who takes great leaps and bounds because of your stature, but maybe baby steps, but just nice friendly dinner.
Baby steps. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to have nice friendly dinner with Miss Lavinia this weekend. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you would like, I would love to arrange it for you.
Well, that's real kind of you, Chauncey. You've definitely done right by me. I really appreciate that. I really should get down there, make sure the boys aren't doing something they shouldn't, poke around in the definitely legal cargo that we're putting in the definitely legal warehouse.
100%. Absolutely.
Okay. You see him start walking down the dock. You see it's a busy dock, plenty of people coming and going, right? There's probably other people who are taking cargo off. You can see, probably some kind of crane lifting heavier pieces completely off. And you look around and you can see, like, again, it's a beautiful day and it's middle of the day, bright as can be. And no one's really kind of paying you mind left or right. But at a certain point, you do kind of hear the sounds of like a yelp, a yell kind of off in the distance here and there. Like, oh. And you look down in the direction of where Randy just went. And you can see that there's like a couple people who, like, there's a small, not a scuffle, but you can definitely see like someone has just fallen down and is like gotten up and is like running. You can see she's like looking over her shoulder. And then you hear the sounds of Randy's voice, like, hey, Chauncey, we got a problem in here. Chauncey, I'm on it. And we'll cut from there for a moment. And we'll turn to Fortuna. Fortuna, where do we find you on this lovely Eversink afternoon?
So Fortuna, you will actually find in the Tangle, I believe. So she is kind of looking for a particular kind of food stall that's there. And so you see she has this kind of very nicely wrapped, kind of bundle that she's, kind of carrying, and she's looking very intently as she kind of walks through kind of all of these kind of food stalls, and she's kind of like looking around, and she has sort of that perma scowl, like she hasn't quite found what she's looking for yet, and she's kind of looking like she's not quite sure where she's going, but she knows she'll figure it out when she gets there, kind of a thing. And so you see her kind of walk by one and then kind of take a step back a little bit, and she kind of looks to the kind of proprietors of this food stall, and she says, there's a woman who's kind of sitting in the back, and then there's kind of a man kind of working the front. You are Marcel, yes, you are Marcel.
I see. Yes, madame. What is it I can do for you? What can I do? Are you hungry?
I might get something on the way out. I was actually looking for you, and she kind of looks behind, and you are, yes, Polonia, yes? Yes.
Polonia? What?
Yes. Your wife.
Oh, yeah, yes, Polonia, come here. This lady would like to speak with you.
And you can see, like, she gets up, sits down, whatever she was doing, and she's like, and she looks at you. And are you dressed like with the flamboyance of a noble, or is Fortuna more like a librarian? Okay.
Absolutely.
So when she comes over, she sees you, her eyes go wide.
My lady. What is it we can help you with? How are you blessed us today?
And she's like, she's all like, you can see genuflecting a bit and everything as she comes up.
Yes, that's very nice. It's very sad that I have not met with you before, but you see, I've been doing quite a bit of study of our genealogy and family tree and whatnot, and I think you probably know that we're distant cousins, as it were.
What? What? Yes. She like looks around, and like she's like in a food stall, right?
Yeah.
It's like a food stall. She's like looking around, and she's looking at you, and she's like, "Oh no! I think you are mistaken. No. Like we are not as grand as you. No."
Yes, but and she'll kind of go through and she'll kind of lay out kind of the relationship of, and this is kind of very distant all the way up and all the way back down, that this sort of happens.
Go ahead and spell it out for us. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready with this little portion of this, but kind of what she's been doing over the last 5 years is really making sure that everyone who is connected to the family knows that they're connected, knows that they are part of this, and kind of this is should it come to it, where their allegiances might lie. But she's kind of reaching out to these folks, and I heard the scuttlebutt that I heard is that you actually have a little Genevieve. Did you not just have a lovely little baby girl just a few months back? Genevieve?
She like there's definitely a battle on her face between like pride and also a little bit of skepticism as some random noblewoman is showing up and throwing out names about her yes, madam, we beautiful daughter.
Yes, and so Fortuna's kind of had this package that she's, kind of been carrying. And it's this sort of like loosely wrapped package that doesn't really seem to have kind of a, it's a very loose shape. And so she kind of like has to kind of hold it on both sides as she kind of hands it over to the mother. It just a little something for baby Genevieve.
She looks at it kind of, again, mixture of like joy getting something, but also like some random stranger is just said, hey, I'm related to you. And nobles aren't the most trusted people in the world. So like there's definitely a bit of skepticism. And she's like, many thanks. This is, do you want me to open it now?
Yes.
Okay. She like looks over and like, you can see the husband is like, hurry up, we've got customers, like, and he's like serving people left and right and doing both of their jobs at the same time. And she starts to unravel it. And what's inside? It's
a crocheted baby blanket that has like the Maine Wallen crest on it.
A little bit of the like the fox in the tree.
The fox in the tree.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing that was born from sort of demonic worship. Yeah, got it. Okay, so you've got that. And so she's like, oh, thank you so much. This is so very kind. So very kind. Are you hungry? I can get some food for you. No charge. For family discount.
Only a paying guest, of course. And so whatever lunch item perhaps that they have, she will pay full price and kind of purchase. And
as the two of you are talking and she's like kind of trying to get you something, you hear out of the corner, you hear, it's not difficult to hear because it's just a few feet from you. The husband is like, he's like, sir, what is it you want? I can't hear you. You need to speak up. And you could see that like there's this sort of rough and tumble looking guy that he's trying to serve. And the guy is he's just standing there and almost like kind of swaying in the breeze, like looking down at the food. Sir, excuse me. We've got other people in line. And then when you look past, and he's like looking past, you can see there's a couple more. And they're the same kind of scruffy looking, little bit kind of off. They don't look like, native Eversink folk. They're dressed a little grimily. There's an odor about them. And you can tell that they're kind of holding up. And there's a group of people that are trying to like genuinely come up and buy. And he's like, come on, sir, please, I need you to move. If you don't want to order, then just move along. And it's at that point, like the customer's head jerks up and he's got these bright blue eyes. And he looks like right at the man and he just reaches across and just grabs the man by the throat. We're going to cut from there.
Oh, no.
And we're going to check in with Arkadiy. Where do we find Arkadiy on this fine, absolutely nothing's about to go horribly wrong afternoon?
So you find Arkadiy in Sag Harbor, deep in Sag Harbor. He's walking out of the fighter's exit to the old sunken Coliseum. You see him taking a domino mask off his face and strapping back on his leather armor and his sea axe belt, so he's got his fighting knives with him. And then he turns, and standing in a shadowed alcove, you see Helena, his associate from the Thieves Guild. Helena, did you see the fight last night? Fight went well, yes? You think?
And she's just kind of playing around. She's got a coin in her hand. She's just sort of rubbing it, like she's just rolling it over her fingers here and there. And she says, yes, Arkadiy, you fight very good. Yes, you're very talented. Yes.
But most importantly, Rospo began to trust me now, make inroads with his criminal organization, keep ear to ground on Canal Queen. I know you think that this last 5 years that I've been searching for information about her and her organizations have been a waste of time, but She is there. She is a threat to Fortuna. I must find this woman and either placate her or eliminate her. And for that, and he hands over his winnings from the night to Helena. This is for you and your people to remember that Arkadiy is friend, not enemy.
She takes it and holds it up and looks at you a little suspiciously, but then she's like, "There's never any concern that you are not. You are a friend."
I know, Helena, between you and me, but I know you can always use a little extra coin, and you think well of me, I think well of you. Huh?
I would be careful giving away coin for free. It's very suspicious.
Not free. Because I ask for you to also keep ear to ground, as you have been doing for me all these years.
Here we go. I know there were strings attached.
Yeah, and so she's just like, I know there were strings, and she's just nodding and nodding at this point.
Helena, let me go buy you lunch, and we can talk about attaching strings to one another, yeah?
How can you buy me lunch if you gave me all your money? And she kind of holds it back up.
I gave you my winnings from last night. I did not give you all my money.
Oh, so you're holding out on me. Oh, I guess my trust in my worth is not as high as I thought it was.
I am bad friend. Let me buy you lunch and make up for it.
Yes. Find a good place. Not your cousin's place. He's not a good place. They put something in the food. And the air is watered down. Very cheap, that one.
Well, yes, Chauncey has his moments. Let's cross the bridge, go over to Temple District. I know a very nice little curry stand over there.
Curry, and she puts her hand on her stomach, it would be a long night, but I suppose it is early enough in the day. And so she's
you must learn to eat spicier. In Luzrek, it's so cold. We have to always eat spicy to keep our hearts warm.
Yes, and she's nodding along. You can tell these are things you've said to her, and she's heard 3 or 4 times. Yeah. It's oh, Luzrek, yes, it's very cold. I know, yes, you're made of stronger and sturdier stuff. Yes, the air there is crisp. I understand. Oh, yes, Luzrek, where the air is clean, so the streets. I have heard all of these things. And you could tell she's saying it in good humor, but at the same time, every one of these little adages or these little histories of your home, she seems to know. As you're walking, Arkadiy, you are a fairly vigilant man, I would say. That is probably your expertise in some ways. A few times, it's very busy. You're coming out of Sag Harbor. You're coming out of the fighting pits here. You're moving through. It's the middle of the day. There isn't a street. There isn't a bridge. There isn't a stair that isn't filled with people that you're not bumping off. And every now and then you feel a slight tug on a purse, and you look down and there's this child with a shitting grin on their face and just lets it go and just runs away and darts down an alley. But as you kind of cross over one of the main bridges to get to the Temple District, and you can hear the sounds of hawkers calling out wares, people kind of coming down, also others that are calling out news here and there. A few times you hear a strange sound that just kind of is underneath it all, just a little. And you look over to where that sound was coming from, and you just look at the ground itself, this alleyway, this entrance to an alleyway, and there's no one there. There's people further down the alley. There's you might see a cat or a rat scurry, but you just see this little puddle on the ground. And then, Helena, as maybe you inspected Helena, oh, come on, you're being paranoid again. And then,
And
then you kind of go down the next alley and you hear it again. And you look over and there's nothing there. But again, this small little puddle in the ground. And anytime you pause, someone bumps into you and they call out a curse for blocking the road and here or there. And Helena is kind of getting further and further ahead of you, kind of calling back, because each time, and this happens maybe 3 or 4 different times. And then you start to notice that there are other people in the crowds now that are kind of popping up out of nowhere. And you see these kind of toothy looking grimy folk. They're sunburned. and grime, but underneath it, there's like a paleness to it. You can see that their hair is slick. It almost looks wet, which is peculiar because the day is beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. And each time you hear that sound, you suddenly catch sight of a different one here or there in like the crowd. And you get the sense that all of them, when you look up, you catch eyes and they're looking at you with these bright, beautiful blue eyes, each one along the way. And you just hear like Helena from far up ahead, Arkadiy, come on now, I'm not going to wait for you. And she's just calling, completely oblivious to whatever this is that you're seeing.
Lynne, dear, keep going. I may be a few moments late.
Like she like just waves at this point.
And he loosens the sea axes in his belt and is just observing now. He's just scanning, seeing and sighting on each one of them as they pop up.
And then you hear the sound again, and you feel a presence right behind you. And we're going to cut from there to Solavita. Where do we find Solavita on this beautiful, sunny, not a cloud in the sky afternoon?
Yeah, it seems so safe and serene, and like nothing's going to happen. So you sort of zoom in to where Solavita is, and at first it looks like she's just in a room of trash, and then you realize this whole room is tilted sideways. She's digging through piles of stuff, and she's grabbing things every now and again, shuffling around to the next pile, grabbing a little bit more. And then there's a creak and a crack. And as she looks up, there's a little bit of water that started to stream in from above. So she pulls everything she has into a rucksack that she ties around her, just her waist, and heads straight up. And you see this tiny little hole that smaller than a grate. And she jumps up. She's currently dressed in what almost would be common clothes, but they're a little bit on the nicer side. Like she's when Marie Antoinette dressed up like a peasant kind of situation. She's trying. Okay. Yeah. Not well. She's a little out of touch. Grabs onto this sort of ledge, pulls herself up and out of this little hole. And you realize she is under Eversink, and she's now climbing up in through this narrow, it must have been like an airway at some point in time, up and up and up until she comes out of another tiny little hole, and Mario and Luigi are just sweeping inconspicuously, looking both sides, not really, being paid to look the other way. As she kind of like grabs the ledge and pulls herself up above the waterline for the first time in a couple of hours. Thank you very much. I got the stuff. I think this one is done, though. It's got leaks now.
And so Luigi will look back to you with an amazing mustache, narrow head. His brother, a little short and squatter, also with amazing mustache. But Luigi looks at you. It's like, what are you doing? What did you break this time? Every time you go down, you break something. We have to fix it. What's wrong with you? Why can't you not break something? Why can't you search around and find your things without making us have to do work?
A little bit of weight and the place all starts to shake. It's not my fault. I'm not that big.
It is your fault. We told you not to go down in there. We told you, go down in there. It's not safe. It's very unsafe. You poke around in there and things start to break.
Well, I appreciate you for the heads up. I'm off to the illegitimate bastard, Chauncey's place.
No, don't like that place. They water down the beer. No, the ale tastes like salt water.
You just have to threaten them the right way. Yes, you have a little bit of persuasion will help you, and you get the good drink that way. But I'm off to. I've got my place there. So thank you for the information, and I promise not to go into the next one you tell me about. Yes.
Oh, you're lying to me now. You're lying to me. You said that last time. You say, I promise not to go into it. I promise not to break anything. This is the exact same thing you said last time. And the time before that. You always promise and you never deliver.
but we're such good friends, so you know. And she'll pull out like maybe a locket that she'd picked up that glistens, tarnished but glistens a little bit in this nice day. A little present from my excursion, and she'll pass it off to Mario and Luigi.
And like Luigi's hand will come out for it, but then Mario will just like snatch it really fast. It's like, oh, you're a fish, you're a beauty, oh, and like Luigi's like, oh, what are you doing now? What are you doing? You say these things when she sees you, but when she's not here, you talk like me. And then like they start bickering now at this point between the two of them. And
Solovita, taking this distraction, will slip off into the side streets, heading towards Chauncey's bar so she can get to her little attic room and wait for him to come back so she can fence a few items.
You weave through the streets and again, busy day, traffic, highly trafficked, rickshaws and walkers, people pulling carts left and right. You can see that along the way, much like Arkadiy, you can feel something kind of tugging at your purse, and you look down and there's some little pickpocket trying to take this or that. You hear the sounds of like rats squeaking and disappearing down into an alley. You look down and you see somebody like coughing as well. It's the kind of the usual day.
Yeah.
And then you open the door into the legitimate bastard. Is it legitimate or illegitimate?
Oh, it's
legitimate bastard, apparently.
He was acknowledged by the family.
You open the door into the legitimate bastard, and the lighting seems a little off. It's not completely dark. Some of the shutters are they're not closed, but you can tell that things haven't been fully shuttered. There's no lantern light. There's no, there's nothing going in the fireplace. There's a very dimness in here. You hear people like moving about, and you hear the sounds of patrons. Like it's very quiet though. Like you don't really hear Chauncey's voice. He doesn't seem to be here currently, nor does anyone you recognize. And as like your eyes are trying to adjust to this dimness, you hear this weird little sound, and then behind you hear a click, or at least some kind of some suggestion that the door has been locked. And when you turn and you sort of follow the gaze of that sound, you see standing behind you is about a 6'3", 6'4" man. This lumbering oaf with teeth missing. You can see tattoos, face, arms, very pale with tons of sunburn and grime. He's got greasy hair, patches are missing. You can tell that there's where some of his teeth are missing, others have been replaced by little nuggets of silver or gold. There is a very distinct smell, like a brine that's just sort of wafting off of him. And as you're staring at him, you watch as some of the tattoos that he is sort of bedecked with begin to glow. And we're going to jump back to Chauncey. So Chauncey, you heard you're being shouted for down the docks by your dear friend Randy. What does Chauncey do?
I don't want to be messy. This business is just starting today. I don't need to be messing it up. I'm going to go down and see what's going on. And
okay. When you head down and you see like there's people that are like kind of running away at this point, kind of clearing out in front of where the doors of the warehouse that your stevedore troop was moving the work into are thrown open. And you look inside, and I'm going to say that it's like, when you look inside the warehouse, you see a wall, and then there's like paths that kind of go around it. It's just a way of just protecting from winds and things and such. And you can definitely see that on the ground, right at the door, there is definitely some heavy streaks of blood. What would you like to do, Chauncey?
Is anybody like clearly standing next to the blood, or
just you and Randy right now, and other people are kind of scurrying away?
Okay, finish the job. You keep, but it's like right at where our
It's like right at the door. Like there's these big heavy doors that have been like they're opened up to let the stevedores kind of come in with their cargo, and you can just see there's like kind of blood on the ground right on the inside of it. And a couple people probably saw it and just like scurried away.
All right. Make sure that last little bit gets loaded up. Let's get a group of us. Maybe do a wing formation. Like when you're trying to block the shooter sort of thing. We're just going to kind of move in, make sure that we're well spread out so nobody gets past us. And we need to see what's going on in our warehouse.
Okay. So we'll say then that you're trying to get some of your stevedore troop to come and like...
I'm not going to go in there by myself. Good God,
okay.
No.
All right. Okay. I mean, this is part of your thing. Like this, like you made the troop one of your items,
so,
right? Okay.
I had to trade out my championship sealskin boots. So yeah, now the Tilted Crown Porter Service is one of my iconic items.
Okay. So you get some. We'll say you get 3 in addition to Randy. So it's you, 3 more of your stevedores, and Randy. And like you guys are in this group, and you can see like the stevedores are just looking at you. It's just like what's going on, boss? What's happening here? What are we doing?
Somebody's decided to make a mess up there. Now, again, we offer discretion and efficiency, and if somebody's bloodying up our doorway, well, that's just terrible. So we need to make sure nobody's in there, and if nobody's in there, well, we're going to clean up, get moving along. But just in case, we're going to clear out any possible riffraff.
We got to thump them.
Well, if needs be, I trust your discretion, but obviously if they come for me, please thump them.
Okay. So we're gonna...
And so he just turns around and he says something in a dialect that just does not even sound at all like words. He's just like, dump. And then they're all ready to go. And you can see all of them pull out some just basic, really crude wooden club, and they're ready to go inside. You ready?
Oh, yeah. I will,
okay.
Kind of, like I said, like a little bit of a wing formation. Mm-hmm. Chauncey will be bravely in the second string of the said wing formation.
You're like the quarterback, and the
exactly.
offensive line are moving in. Yeah. And it's a decently sized warehouse, right? Like you're doing okay for yourself. And you can see that there's definitely signs of struggle. There's splintered bits of wood here and there. You can see other like kind of speckled panels here and there that have been hit with some blood. You definitely get the sense that this is recent too. This is like the blood is fresh. You can see it's dripping, and it's very dark as you turn around that opening, that little front wall there, and you hear the sounds of movement inside. You hear like the sounds of and then you hear the sounds of someone moaning in pain, like, Randy, it hurts. They got me in the gullet. Oh, it hurts. And you can hear like Randy gets really nervous, like, Chauncey's one of our best. We got to go help him.
Of course, everybody stay calm. Clearly, this is nothing that we can't handle. Make sure everybody else stays nice and calm, because he needs them to perform while he freaks out behind them, out of sight.
Okay. All right. So as you say that, your offensive line slowly moves forward, ready to thump, and it gets darker and darker. And then as you kind of get into sort of the center of the warehouse, like you can see like Randy finds the voice of Randy, and he's like, oh, here he is. And he like looks down. What's the name of Randy's like best friend other than you? What do you think?
Ignacio.
Ignacio. Yeah, Ignacio. Oh, look at him. And like Ignacio has got this like terrified, like, oh no, they're all around you. And it's at that point, Chauncey, that the room starts to light up as you see like this bright kind of blue light just pop up in one dark corner, and then another, and then another, and then behind you. And you see this group of men mostly, but a couple women. They are, all of them are just coated and covered in this grime. This like, you can tell some of them aren't even wearing shoes. Like their clothes are ragged, torn. Many of them have like a rusty cutlass in their hand. A few of them have what look like boarding axes, like one or two of these big, hulking, massive dudes, hair completely shaved, tattoos along the side. And that's what you realize is glowing and giving the light. Each one of their tattoos is just giving off this faint light. And it's at that point you see the big one with the bald, like kind of the bald head, just call out a command. It's like, "Get it, boys!" And all of them begin to descend upon your group in the middle. We'll come back to you in a second. Fortuna.
Okay. Oh no.
Yeah, Fortuna. You're at this food stall, and you can see one of these grimy looking folks, and I think you guys can figure it out. They all kind of look very similar to the ones I've described in other people's stories. And you can see they've reached out and they've grabbed Marcel by the throat and is like just lifting him. And he just like in some language you're not maybe 100% familiar with. The dialect sounds vaguely familiar, but like in the moment, in the panic of the moment, you just see him literally with one hand lift Marcelo up into the air. You see this long line of tattoos begin to flake and glow. And like the guy seems to be just pouring sweat and sweat and sweat. And the face of Marcelo is just turning red and red and red and then purple. Fortuna, what do you do?
So Fortuna is going to be looking around to the other food stalls that are here and looking for other like men or women or someone else that's here. And she is going to sort of kind of get tall and just kind of point at all of them and just say, "Are you just going to let this happen? Or you need to defend him. You need to defend him." And so she's kind of trying to go into command to try to like get these other people to do this fighting. This is unacceptable.
You call out to like a kebab stall across the street. And right as you reach your finger out and you call out, you start talking before you even fully turn your body. And as you point, you realize there's another one of these grimy looking figures standing right in front of you. Your finger is pointing right at him. And he slowly pulls this long rusted dirk out of his, it doesn't even look like a scabbard. It looks like it's just in his belt. He just pulls it out and he grins at you. And he just says in this, like you could tell it's common Eversync language, but there's definitely a dialect to it. And he's just like, "Night, lady." And he just lunges and tries to stab at you. But you rolled a command. So go ahead and we're going to do, so you're trying to get other people to do something for you. Is that your idea?
So it's a social command that I'm doing here.
Okay. So are you using actual command? Is that like the idea here? You're doing command, or are you looking to like make a spend here? Like we're talking like sway to play to the crowd, or are you talking about like actually making a command spend to see if you can get folks to do something for you?
I was going command spend. So I've got one in command. I'm looking to spend that to basically like, this is unacceptable. You must defend each other. This is cannot be allowed to happen. Of course.
Okay. Okay.
And me, of course.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and you'll make your command spend. So you're trying to get a crowd to follow your orders.
Yes.
And I would say it's fair that these people probably believe you to be elevated. You said you were dressed like a noble. So I think that this a 1 point spend would be fine. Yeah, we'll say 1 point spend is fine. And like right as you reach, right as this guy reaches back to just lunge this dirk right at you, his arm gets grabbed, and you can see that one guy that just happens to be waiting in the kebab stall just turns around and he just says, "What are you doing? Leave her alone. What's wrong with you?" And so this man who tried to attack you just whirls around and just with this big like ham hock of a hand just clocks the guy right in his face, and you just see him go in slow motion like and this big hunk of spit and saliva and a tooth goes flying as this man who just stepped and took the blow for you. We move down to Arkadiy. Arkadiy, the last thing you heard and felt was the sounds of a presence behind you. And right as that presence is you can feel this almost like a moisture, a smell of brine and salt behind you. You can see the other faces that you've seen in the crowd. They just start to charge, knocking people over left and right. And people shout out like, "Ah, ah, ah," various shouts of that kind. Arkadiy, what do you want to do?
So Arkadiy, seeing this, knows he is outmatched under these circumstances. So he is going to pivot and then dart forward into alley, into shadows, and use his incredible stealth to escape from the immediate area, recognizing perhaps that he has been targeted, so perhaps other family members targeted too.
Okay. So are you trying to do like the where did she go? Is that the idea? Okay. So this is, I'm trying to remember what it is. That's your general. It's a general ability, right?
So I have to make a stealth check, but
yeah, make your stealth test. Okay. Yeah, make your stealth test. Difficulty is going to be a little bit higher because you're in a really busy place. So let's kick the difficulty up to 6 because there are a lot of eyes on you right now.
I will spend 4 points of stealth.
Okay. All right. Just roll a 2 and you're good to go.
8 in total.
Okay.
Nice.
You immediately kind of duck down and slide between these two people right as you feel the wind of a blow that was going right for the back of your neck. You just kind of feel it waft past you, and you know, instinct, you've been in fights before, someone just tried to stab you in the back, and you slip through. You hear somebody else maybe take a hit for you unintentionally, and then you dart down into this alleyway. You find this small little alcove where some of these different mismatched buildings come together. As you're waiting there, as you're kind of hiding, you're for a moment, you're making sure that you're not followed or seen. You look down and you see in the alleyway, there is that little bit of that puddle that you've seen a few times before. And as you're with your vigilance so good, you can see it kind of begin to shimmer a bit, get kind of almost foamy. And then you see it just seems to start to grow. And then right in front of your eyes, it almost just looks like this huge, like foam of salt begins to grow up from the puddle. First 3 feet, then 4, then 5, until 6. And you see it begin to shape into that of a human man. And then as that foam begins to fade, that white foam, you can see the grime, the clothes, you can see the cutlass in hand, and you can see this man. Where'd you go? Come back here, we'll make it quick. And he's just looking around. You can tell he doesn't see you, but he's looking. He's looking. Okay. Think about that for a minute. Solavita, you are inside of the legitimate bastard. You hear a click behind you. You smell something just filthy and awful. You can't really see anything, but then the lights begin to get a little brighter, and you realize these different pockets of shadows that begin to get illuminated as these men and women stand, these rough and tumble, grimy salts, like they smell like the sea. They stand up, and one of them is now between you and the door. And they look, this one looking right at you with this like gold and silver teeth, these big bright blue eyes, just says, "Shh, we'll make it painless." And just reaches back and is going to get ready to just sort of smash your head into the wall. What do you do, Solavita?
Solavita is going to head straight for the staircase for the second floor so she can jump out a window up there. But
I like it.
As she does, she's going to this person that's about to pull back that's like right next to her. She's just going to like stick a hand out, see if she can grab anything off his belt or from his pockets, and then take off.
Okay, so
and I can use fast hands.
Athletics check. This is going to be an athletics check to run away from them, and I'm going to say the difficulty is going to be higher because you're trying to grab something first. So we're going to make this athletics difficulty is 6 to race away from them while also grabbing something.
The burglary does give me at 8 fast hands, which allows me to pick someone's pocket without taking action. But yes, I'm going to pump both.
I'm not counting it as an action. It's just the difficulty of you getting away from them.
Yeah. I'm going to pump both of my 2 points of athletics into this roll.
Okay.
I've got a 4. Ouch.
Okay. So you start racing. You grab something. That's fine. Like your fast hands will let you grab something. But it like, as you grab it, it almost kind of falls to pieces in your hand in a way. You feel like you almost drop it for a second. And then in that extra moment it takes for you to like to get a solid grasp on it. It slows your movement. You race over towards the stairs. You get about a couple steps up when you feel a hand grab you on the back and just pulls you back into the room. You see that a different one of these people that had kind of closed in on you from these different directions is now going to attempt to actually attack you.
Yep.
So one of these is going to swipe at you. You can see there, most of these guys have like these long dirks. A couple of them have cutlasses. And so this one's just going to attempt to attack you. Let me just pull up the stuff. Okay, here we go. I'm going to spend a point of malice to get a bonus. 4. I'm assuming 4 is good, right?
Yeah, I don't have any armor, but are they doing morale or health?
Oh, this is health. Okay. Armor is only for damage. It's not for, it doesn't increase your to hit. Okay, so it's just your threshold.
My health threshold is 3.
All right. So he's going to slash out at you. He grabs you with like his offhand, and as he kind of spins you around, he tries to just sort of slash right down kind of diagonally through your torso. This is going to be for 4 points of damage minus if you have armor. So go ahead and reduce that. And he just slashes down through you. And then you see that the others now from deeper parts of the tavern are now racing after you. One of them just lifts and throws over a table as opposed to running around it because it looks cooler, and they're beginning to chase after you. Meanwhile, Chauncey, they're closing in on you. You can see multiple. There's a total of 4 that are closing in. One is this massive looking man. I mean, he's got to be 6'5". Like, he's huge, bald head. Do you remember the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark with the plane? The airplane has that kind of look to him, and he's like coming out, and he's got a big old breaching. He's got like a kind of a breaching axe. And he calls out to them, and they just race after you. The other ones are a mix of like, there's like one woman, there's 2 scrawny looking men, and they're all coming at you with like cutlasses, and you can see one of them has what looks like a belaying pin, a club. Like, they're just coming at you with a basic club, and this is all closing in
up from an elevated area coming down, or kind of like on the same level as us.
They're probably all on the same level. They were hiding amongst the stacks of cargo, so maybe they're like negotiating that as they charge in or climbing over top of it. But what do you do first? Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, I don't know how much I can do in one go of things.
Walk me through it. We'll see.
Well, I know how much Ignacio means to Randy. Right. Get Ignacio out of here. What's wrong with you? You realize this is not tea time, and if you wanted to drink, you could join me over at my bar. I don't know what your problem is. Clearly, what did you ink yourself with? Did you? What is? And he, despite his better judgment, is going to taunt them to have them come. And he'll taunt them. You look like you look like a whale scrotum, frankly. And a magically diseased whale scrotum. I don't understand what's wrong with you. You're filthy, you're disgusting, and I hate all of you. And he'll immediately, after he does it, he'll draw their attention to him, run away like a coward, so they'll chase him after taunting them, hoping that the other, like Randy and Ignacio, can get out.
Okay, so this is actually a sway test. I think I know you're doing taunt, but like you're basically doing an offensive attack, a morale attack on them. And I think you have enough in sway to do play to the crowd if you roll well enough. If you're gonna get a crit, so go ahead and give that a roll. And so while you're doing that, he just says,
"We've seen whales, we've killed whales. We do not look like a whale scrotum. And more talk like that, and we'll make it hurt."
I defer to your scrotal expertise of the whale species.
Okay, how'd you do on your roll?
I will roll.
Remember, you can spend points ahead of time.
I did. I spent 4.
All right, fantastic. 9 is going to. That is good. They have a threshold of 4.
So it's 5 over?
So it's 5 over. So you can choose to either do so you remember, you have an option. You can either try to use the play to the crowd, which means it'll target multiple targets,
Mhm.
or you could do a crit if you were targeting this big dude. If that's your preferred. It's one or the other. You can do both.
I would like to basically like hit one of the scrawny ones, one of the ones that looks like they probably don't really want to be here. Whoever looks to be the most meek and cowardly, that they're just here because they got wrangled in with the crowd. I want the play to the crowd to go to them, so to speak.
Okay, so you want to do okay, so you are doing like the AOE. Remember, the play of the crowd. Play of the crowd is like an AOE. Like you can target for each additional. I only get to
choose one.
Yeah. So okay, let's just reset.
Sorry,
you rolled a 9. No, it's fine. Yeah. You rolled a 9, which exceeds their threshold by 5, which means you can crit if you wanted. If you crit, that means you're doing extra damage to one target.
No, I want to spread it out.
Or you can do the play to the crowd. And what play to the crowd means is that you can have the effect basically target a number of people equal to, like, I think how many you go over. It's like it's for every interval of 3 over their threshold. And so in your case, it would just be 1. You would do 1 extra target.
Right. So again, that's why I was saying, like, I obviously do want to impact whoever the big guy is.
Sure.
And then whoever looks to be the meekest kind of do the runoff to them.
Okay. All right. So roll your damage.
Okay.
So this is targeting their morale.
Mm-hmm.
They do have some grit that'll reduce this slightly.
So it's like D6 plus 1.
Yeah, D6 plus 1 is the default, unless you're going to make some spends to increase that.
I don't think so. The spend before doesn't affect the roll after, correct?
It is the minimum you can roll on your damage D6. So since you spent 4, the minimum you would roll on your D6 for damage is 4.
Cool. All right. So I'll just.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Okay.
Roll 4. My minimum was a 4.
You do 5 points of damage, morale damage, which you can tell irritates this large man. And he looks at you, and as you kind of throw back his words at him, you can tell like he gets caught kind of lost in it. But that's not what I want. No. And you can tell that is like his irritation sinks into him. And so, but he recenters himself and he looks at you. His face, like you can see, scrunches up the side of his head. The tattoos are kind of flickering here and there.
Yeah,
you see this big
just like one
wash of salt and of salty sweat just begin to pour down his face. The other one that you kind of throw a side convo to, he like turns to the big man and he starts laughing at him. Did you hear what he said? He said your head looks like a whale scrotum. And the big bald man looks over at him and takes in his one hand this massive breaching axe and just swings it out. And it collides with that other one's head. The head just completely explodes in this puff, not of blood, but of white particles. And you just see the body that was just standing there a second ago just collapses. You see no longer an arm. You see no longer clothes. There's just a big pile of this like kind of white crystal on the ground. Okay. Now they're going to go. Randy is taking Ignacio out. Mm-hmm. I will say that the other 2 small guys are going to attack your stevedores. So I'm going to say that they're just going to NPC fight on the side. Mm-hmm. The big guy's coming for you, though, Chauncey. You just called his head a whale scrotum. So he's going to step up.
And effective.
He is going to... Okay. I have a couple things I can do with him. So let's do it. I'm going to spend 3 malice. Actually, wait, I got to roll the hit first, don't I? So okay. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the hit. I'm going to spend a point of malice on my bonus to get a plus to this attack, to get a bonus to this attack. So we'll start there. And all right, it's a 3 plus 1 is 4 plus, what's his bonus? His bonus is 2. 6 all total to hit. What is your threshold?
3.
Okay, he's fine. So no crit on you, obviously. So then he is going to spend I'm going to spend 3 malice to trigger his extra damage ability, which means he gets to roll an extra d6 for his damage against you with his big old boarding axe.
Can I maybe try to dodge him?
You absolutely could. Let me see is that something you have to do before he hits, or is that something you have to do before he does damage?
I think I have to meet what he rolled. I've only used it the one time before.
It's on his hit, right?
Session.
Sorry. Yeah, I know we haven't used dodge, surprisingly. You can try to dodge or parry attacks against your health. That's fine. After you've been successfully attacked, but before I roll damage, you must spend at least 1 point of athletics and roll an athletics test. You must exceed the attacker's success result. If their result was 5 to attack you, for instance, your result must be 6 or higher. So you need to roll a 7 as they rolled a 6 on their hit. So remember, you spend you can spend 1 point of athletics to basically dodge, and then when you make your athletics check, don't forget you can spend points to increase the bonus.
I was trying to click there's how I clicked to spend. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I will spend 4 and then do a roll.
Did you spend the 1 to just do the dodge to begin with?
There we go.
You have to spend 1 just to be able to do the dodge. And then when you make the athletics check, you can spend to get a bonus on the roll.
Got it.
But they're separate.
All right, I'll do that and give it a try.
Okay, a 9, fantastic.
That's a good roll.
He comes in and
roll.
you just see this axe just swinging vertically down. And right as it's about to hit you, like you almost
on some
slip.
blood?
You like slip in this just amazingly perfect way. And you just manage to tilt as the axe comes down and completely destroys the wooden floor panel. Splinters flying everywhere, kind of gets into your hair and on your clothes and such. But you manage to dodge out of the way of what otherwise would have been a fairly large hit. Okay. Meanwhile, Fortuna, where you're at, there is a man who just came to your aid, got punched in the face by one of the 2 of these figures that have started to harass this vendor you came to. You can see that the vendor, Marcel, his face is purple. Apollonia is just like completely, she's hanging and pulling on the arm of this man who's trying to choke Marcel out. And is unable to bring him down. Like Marcel's literally his eyes are starting to flicker. It looks like he's going to go out. Fortuna, what do you want to do?
Oh,
these are your family after all.
I just made a whole point of that. It would be awful of me to just stealth away in this situation and look out for my own self.
Ancient noble, and we have learned that your family is awful, so it fits. If that's what you want to do.
So what I have been unsuccessfully trying to figure out is I'm trying to figure out what the role would be. What I want to do, and I don't know that I have any skills to do this. Maybe burglary, maybe stealth. Okay. I'm imagining that these food stalls have some kind of like, I'm almost imagining sort of like a canvas, like covering with some wood poles kind of a thing that I want to try to like knock one of the kind of wooden pole supports off in such a way that it might kind of mix them up in the kind of canvas overhang is kind of what I'm aiming to do.
I love it. Okay. I mean, I would say athletics, burglary, either of those are fine.
Definitely burglary, as I have no athletics.
All right. Give it a go. I think the 2 enemies that are near you are both, one of them is punching a random civilian who's just coming to your aid. The other one is choking your cousin-in-law or something. So they're probably not going to interfere with you doing this. So difficulty 4, just keep it at a simple 4. Okay,
so I'm gonna spend 1. So I'm gonna be rolling this with a +1.
Okay. So you need a 3 or higher on the roll. Okay. Melissa's rethinking now. I knew she was. I knew she was rethinking.
I think I'm spending a little more than I'm supposed to in the first session. Oh, and I rolled a 6.
Okay, fantastic.
So that's an 8 total.
It's an 8 total. Target was 4. So you have, I'll say that would you have wanted it to collapse onto the one choking Marcel? Would you want it to collapse? Okay. So we'll say it collapses one of the poles that maybe there's like holes in the ground that they put these big wooden poles in that kind of help sturdy it in. You manage to just knock it right out of that. The canvas comes down. You see it flutters on top of a variety of people, and there's everyone that's trying to come out from under it. And so unintentionally or not, like there's people that are getting elbowed and shoved and tripped, and the pole comes down in such a way that it just kind of just chops right into the arm of the man that was choking Marcel, which is enough with Apollonia pulling on it that the hand comes free and Marcel drops. You hear a sudden, you realize that he's still alive. However, that hand now is free. And it's sort of like pulling away and trying to get out from under the canvas and turn back to you. You can hear the sounds of that poor man that you have brought to his death is getting his ass beat. You look back and he's just this huge man. You see this grimy, muscular back. You can tell this is a person who works. You can see slashes on the back like they've been like flogged before. And they're just beating this poor civilian right in front of you. And as you turn and see that, the other one kind of tries to pull the canvas off and is going to attack you. I'm going to increase the difficulty as he's like kind of trying to untangle himself for this. So I'll say give yourself like a +2 to your normal threshold. And he's going to make an attack. I'm going to burn Malice to get a bonus. And he's just going to, at this point, slash out at you or stab out at you.
5, no armor.
Okay. I rolled a 3. I have a +2 on the roll. So it's literally 5 on the dot. Is that good?
That is my new threshold is 5. Yeah.
Okay. So he still manages to hit, like you hear like the ripping of the canvas and you see the cutlass just come through the canvas and manages to slash you at the same time. And this is going to be only 2 points of damage. I rolled a 1. So 2 points of damage to you. Do you have any armor?
No.
Okay, so he just catches you like on the arm and he just cuts and like a little splurt of blood comes out. We see suddenly a bit of the canvas now gets bright and bloody. And there's pandemonium happening now. Arkadiy, you are hiding. You are in this dark alcove. You just saw one of these things just manifest as if from the puddle itself. And they're looking around for you. You're fairly certain because he's shouting out for you that he can't see you. What do you want to do, Arkadiy?
So Arkadiy is going to just stay hidden, and he is just focusing on trying to absorb as much detail about these individuals as he can. Their look, their demeanor, if they appear to be, listening to a particular leader or how they're operating, so that when he gets back, he can talk to Solovita and Vincent about the sorcery and possibly who these individuals might be. Okay.
Do you want to do a vigilant spend on this? Because there's some things you could get just by default, but there is a spend available if you would like it.
Yeah, I'll spend a point of vigilance on it.
Okay. So what you see is like he's looking around. He's like, "Come out and we'll make it quick. Hide and we will drag you for days." And then you see rushing in behind him, like you can see 2 of the other faces that you saw in the crowd. One of them is this hideous looking man, and another you realize is a very hideous looking woman. You can see like there's this huge scar across her face, and she has an eye patch on. And the 3 of them are like looking, and he's like, "Who came in here? Run, go." And they all start to like just race down and past you. And as you see them rush past, there's a few things you'll get. First, they smell, I've mentioned this before, they smell just extraordinarily briny. They smell like the sea. They smell the way sailors smell, is essentially what you're getting from this. But you notice as they rush brush past on the woman's eye patch, and then you can see kind of stitched into what looks like a makeshift scabbard on one of the other figures. There is a small sigil that you can see that has been crudely stitched. It kind of looks to some degree like this. It almost looks like a branch that's kind of sweeping around, and there is some kind of animal that you can see that is just sort of walking down it. With your spend, you recall seeing this exact sigil in the mosaic on the wall beneath your family's estate about 5 years ago, when you saw this mosaic of like these Mainwallen mercantile ships. But as the paint was stripped away and the underlayer was shown, and we saw what looked more like pirate vessels, you remember seeing that sigil on the flag that one of those ships was flying. They rush past you. And then as you're watching, you notice that one of them stops for a second, and they just sort of turn into what looks like mist for a moment. You just see this swirling bit of like white crystal and mist, and you see it just begin to zip and fly up like a swarm of bugs. And then they re-solidify up on the rooftop at the far end of the alley as if they're trying to get a bird's eye view of the intersection. And the other two are just racing. They each get to the end of that intersection. They look, one goes one way, one goes the other. And then you watch as the one that manifested up on the rooftop continues to run along until all three of them are out of view. And you think you've eluded them at this point.
So Arkadiy thinking to himself, this is perhaps not good news for family. That sigil was prominent in crypt we do not mention any longer, long since buried. I think perhaps Vincent will be interested in learning of this sorcery, and maybe in Solavita's books we can find some answers. So he starts to very, he now his senses are fully engaged, and he's sticking to the shadows and, going to rooftops when necessary. He's making his way back to the main wall and manor.
Yep. And you've made your spend, you've made your roll. We're not going to double dip and require it. And I would say you have in fact eluded them for the time being, and you're able to, between the crowds, the shadows, the alleyways, you're able to kind of work your back. Obviously, it's going to take a little while, but you're working your way back. Solavita, one of these just came up, slashed you on the arm. You have something in your hand from them, and you can see the one at the door is now coming at you. Another one from the far recesses just flipped over one of the tables, and now there's like three of them that are charging at you. You're at the base of the stairs. You weren't able to get away on the first round. What is it you want to do here?
So this fellow that has me grabbed, I'm going to push in just so he loosens his grip a little bit, and then I'm going to spend a point of corruption to turn him into a living statue.
Okay. Fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm
nice.
this is not a good place. So they locked the door.
That is true.
So I'm going to spend that corruption, and then yes, press this button. There we go. Nope. Hold on. Spend. There we go. Okay. And then I need to do I'm going to internalize the corruption. This is so as I push in, just loosens his grip enough, and then you start to see this white spreading across his fingers in this grip, and where my elbow leans into his solar plexus. I need to do, what is it? Just a D6 plus sorcery points.
Yeah, you got to do you have to do a sorcery test, and then
the difficulty should be
spend on corruption is going to make it like a bigger effect.
Yeah, I only have one corruption, so it'd be a difficulty of 4. I'm going to plug.
Well, no. You've got to do like you're doing a sorcery attack with a corruption spend to increase like the effect, right? Isn't that what you're doing? You're doing a sorcery attack against him. So we need to roll that attack. We get to see if you hit first.
Okay.
So do you target, I can't remember, do you target health or morale?
Health. I'm a health one.
So go ahead and let's do that. You can spend any sorcery points that you want to boost the roll. To hit. All right. And then let me know how you...
I think I'm going to... if I'm turning into a statue, might as well go big. I'll pump 3 of my sorcery in right now.
Okay. I like it.
That is Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong button. My bad.
Yes, 1d6 plus 3.
Hold on. Let's put that back up there and then roll a test one. Okay, so 6.
Okay, 6 is plenty. So that is a success. Do you have blast for sorcery?
I do, which means that I need 7 if I'm going to hit multiple enemies.
You need 3 over the target. The one that you're targeting has a health threshold of 3.
Oh.
And you rolled a 6.
Yes.
Which means if you wanted to trigger blast, you could, targeting a second one of the 3.
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So
nice.
You're going to be doing this now, but you are doing your corruption spend, right? So you're doing one, which is going to. So you spend 1 point of corruption, gives you an extra die.
So that should be a difficulty of 4.
It's going to do a plus. It's going to be a plus. It's going to be plus 3 damage because it's going to be total damage to all within point blank range of the target. So since you're doing your blast, you're going to roll your normal your normal damage, but you're going to get a plus 3 from your corruption spend.
Oh, so that would have been a 9 instead of a 6?
This is for damage. So just roll damage. Roll a d6.
Okay. I will just roll.
By default, corruption gets d6 plus 1.
5 plus 3 for 8.
So you 5 plus 1 for default, but then you have your corruption spend, which takes you up to 9. So you literally just did 9 damage to them. And you watch as 2 of them, as you reach out, the one that slashed you and the one that from the door, the one probably from the recesses that threw over the table is the one that you didn't catch. The 2 of them just begin, you see their heads, and you can tell that they're confused with what's happening as their heads just begin to turn sort of granite-like. And you can see these little veins begin to form, like these wide eyes, as they kind of look at each other in this sort of slow manner. And they say, one says, "What is this, sir?" And then his face freezes as it turns to stone. Go ahead and do your corruption.
Yes, we can investigate you later. Corruption.
Do your corruption roll. Yeah, let's do your corruption roll.
What... I can use sorcery, I can use sorcery to boost that roll, right? Or is it? So that's what I was trying to remember.
You internalized it, correct?
Yes.
You internalized it?
Yep.
Okay, so you're making a health test.
Yes.
The difficulty is 3 plus the number of corruption points you spend, which will be your target of 4. So you're making a health test.
Okay. And there's nothing I can spend to boost that.
You can spend health. You can spend health.
I'm going to spend at least 2 health for this. Oh, that was the wrong way.
Okay.
And then I'll just roll a d6. There we go. 2, so 4.
4.
This is why we spend.
Yeah, for sure.
I think like a pass means like something happens on your body, but it's not visible, and a fail means it is visible. So some change manifests.
Little serpent tail a serpent scale appears next to the other one. That's somewhere on my back.
This small patch of like serpent scales is beginning to grow somewhere on Solavita.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna keep going up those stairs out the window.
All right. You rush up, you get up into your room, we'll say, and you see the window, and right as you're about to climb out it or jump out of it, you hear the third one is like rushing in, like, "Not so fast, sorcerer!" and just like chasing after you, and is going to try a kind of stab you before you jump out the window. As there is one more left, and I will do a little thingamajig. And all right, that's gonna be a 7 to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Don't worry, this isn't the same guy, the kind of guy that was attacking Chauncey, so I can't do the extra damage with him. This is
I have 2 health left already.
What?
Oh no.
You're going to be taking at least 2. I can tell you that.
I know.
Yeah, you're gonna be taking 5. On
so
this.
-3.
Okay, so what that means is you have to make a immediate difficulty 4 health test to stay conscious.
Yeah.
If you fail, you fall unconscious.
Yep.
Oh, all by yourself.
You can spend points on health. You can spend just like any roll. You can spend points on health, just like you did for your
like
if you
spend some
won.
other thing.
Yeah,
I was really hoping that these guys would walk the stairs with their bodies. Okay, then I'm gonna spend. I guess I'll spend like 2 burglary or something, or because I'm getting out the window?
Yeah, you can. So you can, if you wanted to do investigate. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Okay. Okay. So what we can say, if you're okay with this, you manage to get out the window right as he kind of stabs you, and that kind of maybe makes the fall a little awkward, and you land on the street. And that, since you did fail your health test, that's where you fall unconscious, but in public on the street.
But I spent 2, so that would bring it to 4. Or do you want me to re-roll that?
What do you mean you spent 2? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Never mind. Okay. I was thinking I could go unconscious. Yeah.
Okay. You were spending the burglary ones to try to boost your
my roll.
health.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I thought you meant. That's okay.
I meant you could spend.
It's been a while.
That works too. Because it's investigative points, so you're fine. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll say. Okay, if that's the case, then you feel like he slashes you maybe in the back of the leg right as you leap out, and you kind of fall and stumble. You're bleeding. You're cut, but you kind of keep consciousness, and he's staring down at you from this window. You're now on the street. There's all these, there's people kind of coming and going, and you're kind of covered in blood at this point. Like you've got slashes here. You're probably a little bit sort of out of it, but you watch like up in the window as he just sort of begins to dematerialize in front of you. Just see like the physical shape of this man begin to sort of dematerialize. And you see almost like slithering or just pouring out the window like a waterfall is this almost foam or this icy swath of crystals that just starts to sort of peel down the side. It's not moving very quickly, as quickly as your fall. So you're probably able to put some distance between him and you. Chauncey, meanwhile, you just took a big ass. You just dodged a big ass hit from this whale scrotum. And he, in his anger, took out one of his own guys and left like a big pile of dust behind of something. You can hear the sounds of your stevedores fighting the others. You hear the sounds of like Randy, like saying, "You're gonna be okay, Ignacio. I got you. No problem. You're gonna be fine. Come on." And he's gone. And you're just kind of like in this warehouse now with this big dude in front of you who doesn't like being called a whale scrotum. What would you like to do, Chauncey?
Scramble to my feet, flinging whatever dust that is that's on the ground back in the general direction of his face. Start running towards some nook or cranny where I hope he can't swing as well, and just taunting him still verbally with him. "I'm terribly sorry. You're clearly not a whale scrotum that's too aggrandized for you. I see you beating off your little man and you're shooting blanks. You're nothing but dander, scabies at best, some sort of magical skin condition. Ah!"
Please roll a sway test and to attack. God, if he hits you, I'm putting every point into damage.
Yeah. That's fair.
Oh. Look at that roll.
Oh my God.
6.
That, my friend, 6 + 4. You just spent a whole messload of sway points. Yeah. That's a 10. That's a crit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which means you get an extra D6 of damage. So you're rolling 2d6 + 1. Unless you wanted to put any more points into it. You got 2d6 + 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, I think he's going to put everything into this. He just desperately does not want to get hit.
Okay.
So I'll do, because the first one has a minimum 4, maybe I should do them separate or just roll the 2d6 at the same time?
Yeah, because the minimum only counts as the first d6. So yeah, go ahead. We'll just roll them at the same time, and we'll just take the first die that lists as your first die.
Okay. So it'd be 2d6 + 3 because I spent the extra 2. Okay.
You spent more for the damage?
Yes,
okay.
I'm because you're like Chauncey's desperate for this fight to be over and get away.
Okay. And you're in good shape. Oh my God, that's a great roll.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, so first I was the 4 though.
13 points of damage, of morale damage, and he's already taken some morale damage. And you kick what you realize now is a pile of salt. Part of kicking, though, you realize there was something else in the pile, and as it flies up into his face, whatever it was, like catches him right in the eye, and he's like, "Oh, you cowardly shit fuck? Oh. And he's like, you can tell his eyes are squinting and he can't quite see you. And he comes and he thinks he sees you. He starts to charge in and he reaches back. And as he does so, like he doesn't notice there's like a hook hanging down from one of the rafters at the top. At the top of the warehouse, and it just kind of catches him like right in the neck and yanks his head. You hear this hideous as his head lifts up, his body flies out underneath him. And in the process of that swing, he turns into just hundreds of pounds of what looks like salt as it flies through the air and washes over top of you. And you just get, it's in your eyes, it's in your hair, it's on your clothes. And even the weapon itself just dissipates. You look out and you can see that there are similar chunks of salt on the ground, and you can see your stevedores are standing over top of them, and you can be like, whoa. Well, what's going on here? I hear an attendant. I don't understand what's going on. And they're like looking around like, well, what the hell's happening here?
What happened here is we've shown the mettle of ourselves, men. The tilted crown is not so easily turned.
Oh, this isn't metal. This is wood. It's a club. You see right here, I use it to thump people with them. I thumped them, boss.
Just so. Expertise in thumping.
I don't know nothing about metal, though. Okay. And at this point, Chauncey, you look around, you see no other signs other than Ignacio, who probably took a couple horrible hits. Other than the damage to the floor, you think you've managed to sort of deal with them.
You and you, the both of you, are getting a shot on me tonight.
Why would we want to shoot you, boss?
No, the good. I'm going to give you both a thimble of the good stuff.
Oh,
come to the bar, I'll give you a drink.
You mean the swill? Okay, you aren't going to water it down, though, are you, boss?
No, good gracious, no. We're friends.
Okay. And so we fade from there to Fortuna. Fortuna, the last we saw of you, you managed to take some sort of like the canvas down, but a blade got through. You've gotten one of these, some poor schmuck is just getting beaten to death right there. So there's two of these. One of them is their attention is on you with a cutlass. Another one's on the ground getting kind of smashed in the face. What do you want to do, Fortuna?
Fortuna's not built to be alone doing these kinds of things.
No. That's why I let you guys decide where it was that you wanted to be when you started. Mm-hmm. You all decided not to be a family. I'm just saying.
We did.
You all decided to go off all by yourselves.
We absolutely
worked out for most of the people.
Not
Solvita's
so
a little
much.
beat up, though.
Yeah. All right. Okay, yeah, because I don't have anything to spend for warfare or any of those kinds of things. I am going to I'm trying to see if there's any like preparedness kind of a thing that I might be able to do.
Sure. Do a flashback.
Yeah. I'm
prepared
not
for
sure.
muggers and thieves.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to try to do a roll. I don't have anything to spend on warfare, but I think... So one of the things that happened in the last 5 years is that Solavita has been kind of going through, all of our different vaults and whatnot. And I realize that I need to have something on me to fight with. So Fortuna does kind of under her, kind of cloaks and whatnot have this lovely, kind of fancy, long, skinny dagger that she's got. And so she is going to attempt to stab at the guy who is killing the other guy.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is just going to be a straight roll.
So it's a warfare roll since you're using a dagger.
I know.
You're trying to attack health. Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead. I like
Got
it.
Nothing to spend on it, but I'm rolling it.
Well, you can spend other things. Don't forget, like you can make investigative point spends to help you in this as long as you can justify why you would be getting the bonus from it.
I rolled a 6 on my D6.
Okay.
I rolled it in
is...
system, so I didn't
I see it.
cheat right there.
Okay. What? Okay. I like how your guilty conscience for all those other times that you cheat. This is what it is.
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying.
That's
I get
definitely a hit.
of cheating.
Go ahead and roll your damage. So D6 plus 1 by default, unless you wanted to make any spends to increase that.
I don't think I've got. Yeah, because my spot frailty is grit, not health. So
okay.
Just spending
grit. Yeah, grit's for morale. So
yeah, I rolled a 1.
Okay,
so it's 2 damage.
Okay. The good news is he only has 1 health. So as you stab the dagger into the back of his neck, as he's not looking at you, he's got this man onto the ground and he is just beating him, curb stomping him, punching him. And you can tell like this just bit of rage is taking over. You just stab him right in the back of the neck. And as you pull the dagger out.
This no.
Is that really what you're doing? You're like, no. Like some old librarian. Each time you pull the knife out, you realize there's no blood. And then as you pull it out the last time, you just see this like explosion of like salt. And then the whole body of this man who was beating and pounding this Good Samaritan just sort of dissolves into this big pile, like this huge, gigantic sack that's spilled of salt, and it's just covering the wounds of this poor Samaritan.
Sorcery is this?
The other one, who has already slashed you, will slash you again as you're here, and so he is going to make a little spin.
Stories will be told of this. This is what Fortuna is banking on.
Not by you.
And he just swings it down on you. 7 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
And that is going to be...
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
That is going to be 6 points of damage. As you got a good one off this time. Sorry.
Oh, that takes me right to 0.
0 is okay. You don't got to do a roll at 0. It's when you get into the negative that you have to do rolls.
Okay.
Okay. So he slashes down into you. You feel this horrific pain. We cut over to Solavita. As at this point, Chauncey and Arkadiy, the two of you have managed to elude Solavita. You see this figure is almost like morphing and moving down in this weird, semi kind of fluidic state. What do you want to do? Is you're on the street, you're bleeding, you're barely keeping conscious.
I am immediately going to try to go to one of the entrances to the Undercity and just like try to disappear.
I like it.
City, I'm happy to spend city secrets if needed.
Secrets.
Yeah. I'll spend it.
Spend it, and you're out of this trouble. If you spend a point to spend, you're out. And you race away.
Easy
you
choice.
Hear the sounds of people calling, like, do you, Madame, what is wrong with you? Do you need help? Are you okay? Are you okay? You just run, and you just like slink down this alley, and there's like this stack of barrels and crates. And you see right along behind it, there is this kind of small little mini door, like this, like sized for a child. And as you push it open, there is this stone stair that just weaves down to this sub basement. And you're able to slink away.
It's good.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Fortuna, you are about to get murdered. So what are your final words? In action.
Oh.
No,
Fortuna...
no.
I would say Fortuna sort of going back to kind of her like sway of like everyone else that is here. That I must be defended. I must be defended. What are all of you doing? What are all of you doing?
Yes. Okay.
I have taken out one of them. What are the rest of you doing?
Okay. Are you making a command spend again? Is that what you're doing?
I
want to make a sway
command.
attack?
I'm going sway. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll say, we can flavor it like this. You're doing a sway attack to basically use them as your weapons. Like you're trying to convince them to come like pile on this guy.
Yeah. And I do have 8. So I think I have play to the crowd. with sway.
You got it, but you have to hit. You have to roll high enough to trigger play to the crowd. That's a crit. That's basically a crit. That's 5 over top of the target. The target for this case is just. Sorry, that's the wrong one. The target for this one is 4. They have a morale of 4.
Okay,
it's easier to hit them.
4. So I will spend 4 of my sway.
Okay, spend 4 of your sway. Roll your d6. Add it all together. So you're definitely going to hit. It's just a question of whether you crit or not.
Yeah, let me see if this works the way I need it to. So I rolled I spent 4, so it's a 7. So
all right, not a crit, but definitely a hit. So you see there's more folks that are starting to kind of come. Like some of them aren't like physically coming, but they're shouting. Others are calling for the city watch. You could definitely tell like people, like they're not idiots. Others are racing away. But you can see that this kind of like large baker woman who is like selling rolls is like, she comes over, she's got like this sort of big old wooden spoon, and she just starts like to beat away at his back. Roll your
Rolling
damage.
pin's gonna do this.
And this is how much she's going to do. And remember, you can spend stuff if you wanted to increase your damage, etc., etc.
Can I spend 1 point of nobility on this? That this is unacceptable for a noble to die here?
Oh, of course. Yeah, you've already established that you have really laid into the, like, don't you know who I am kind of thing going on right now. So
yeah.
I think that makes perfect sense in this situation.
Okay, so that's going to be a 5 then.
Well, no, you get an extra d6. So when you make that spend, you're getting an extra d6.
Oh, okay. So my first d6 was a 4, and then my second d6 is a 5.
It's 10 total damage. Okay. So as you call out and you're saying, don't you know who I am? Oh my God, I can't die here. There's this heavy set baker woman with, well, you said rolling pin, so we'll say rolling pin. She comes over and she just starts hitting it. And you can see Apollonia at this point is like throwing things at this guy. And he's like trying to swipe and miss. And like, he's just, get off me. And then finally one of the rolling pins like clocks him right on his temple. And he kind of collapses down and his head hits the side of like the countertop for this stall. And you hear a sickening crunch. But then like his body from the ground up just begins to disintegrate and just falls down to the ground as this big heaping pile of salt. But the adversary is in fact defeated. At this point, all of you have managed to either elude, evade, flee, or defeat these various attempted assassinations. We know Arkadiy's heading back to the manor. Solovita, would you be using these things to get back to the manor? Okay.
Yeah.
Chauncey, would you where would you be headed? You can stay here for a second and do investigation stuff if you want to look at anything as well. You don't have to leave immediately. So what do you think Chauncey would be doing?
I think he would take a second to look at just the bizarre, and especially if he thought for a second he had picked up something other than just the salt.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that there's the possibility of the ridiculous luck, like maybe there is an actual something that he finds in the remains of the big guy.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a viability. I don't know what they are, but.
Okay. So we'll start with Chauncey. So Chauncey, then you are in this warehouse and your various stevedores are kind of cleaning up. Maybe they're sweeping up and they're like, it's just salt, Walsh. What we got to deal with it? And then one of them picks up from the corner. You said you're spending a point of ridiculous luck. Yeah, we'll take it. He like steps on it. He's like, ow, ow, ow. And then he looks down and he picks up what looks to be like a big, thick bronze like signet ring. And you're pretty sure that's whatever it was that was in that big pile that you kicked and it kind of hit the big guy in the eye. And somehow, despite like the absolute trash nature of the warehouse, your stevedore assistant here has managed to find it. When you look at it, and this is so not only do you have it, but you have a point in Mercanti guilds, right? Like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I established in my downtime, so to speak.
I'm going to say then, as part of your spend, that you recognize the ring as being, it bears the sigil of House Valtieri. So it's basically a circle, and it's got these two like curved lines going through it on either side. They're a fairly modest mercanti guild that they rent warehouses in Sag Harbor. They they're not like the richest and most powerful. They're not like the weakest. You've never really had any issues with them before, probably. But you would know that this is from that family.
I feel like this is the sort of thing I need to get back to the more bookish members of the family. Also, I really want to change.
Okay. Don't worry about it, boss. We'll get us all cleaned up. You want the salt back at the tavern?
And like you can see, they're picking up a little bit in their taste.
It tastes fun.
I mean, waste not, want not, of course.
Okay, well, we're on it.
And so you can see they start to sweep it up and kind of get that together. Fortuna, then, what would you do in the wake of this sort of horrific attack on you and on your new family members?
I would say Fortuna being Fortuna is sort of immediately going into like PR mode a bit. She's, Marcel, help me up. Help me up. And she's just sort of...
The man who nearly was suffocated and choked out. Yes, please, 1 second. And he comes around and he helps you up.
This is absolutely unacceptable. And she sort of is like looking to everyone to sort of make sure that the narrative of this is that a Mainwallen defended those here, that Fortuna took out one of them in defense of them. And that the Mainwallen family is going to look into this inexplicable scourge that has come to this area. So she's kind of doing like, she is feeling absolutely awful in this moment, but she is never kind of not thinking about the family and all of those kinds of things. So this is what she's doing.
I think you've made enough spends and ordered people around enough that I think like it's very clear you and these poor people at their stall were attacked. So I don't really feel like anyone would probably blame you, even without anything. Like, genuinely, you and these other people were attacked. So do you linger and look at anything? Or do you head back to the Mainwallen Manor? What would you do?
She definitely would be looking through this. She's always trying to get ahead of things and feeling like she's kind of behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So she definitely, and she is, once everyone's, I imagine some people there are telling her how brave she was for attacking, one of them. And like, once that is settled for her, then her brain is going to go into what in all of the hells was this actually? And then she's going to try to sift through the remains and the salt and all of these kinds of things and see what she can see.
Well, you tell me what skill, what investigative ability do you think you're using to search the remains, talk to the witnesses? Like, what do you think you're doing?
I would say vigilance would make sense, I think.
No spend necessary just yet. Okay. So this is just, you're looking, you're going through the piles. There's nothing in the piles. It's pure salt. Like there's nothing. Like they had weapons, they had clothes. All of that seems to have sort of dissolved in the process. None of that seems to be, there's no physical suggestion of anything like more than just this pile of crystalline salt and sea salt. Like you can pick it up and smell it, and like just like in Chauncey's, like it very much is salt, certainly, and it's like this thick, these thick crystals. And you can even see some, much like Chauncey's stevedore friend. some of the vendors here are quite keen on like, you're gonna use all that, and so you can see some of them are kind of eyeing it up, but they're waiting.
Goodness, no, get that away from me.
So the other thing you noticed is that they had a very distinct smell about them.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, they smelled like the sea for sure, but there was something more to it. And if you would like a spend here, you can make a vigilant spend to sort of get your thoughts about you, talk to maybe some of the other people around here.
Yeah, I like that.
Everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that earlier, and she had her back turned when she was talking to the couple. So definitely, what did all of you see? They came up at me from behind.
Well, they just attacked. They came by and they attacked everybody. They're all so violent, so cruel, so violent in broad daylight like this. And like you can see, everyone starts talking really fast.
Just aghast at this, but they must have come from somewhere.
The violence, the stench, the blood, this is a place of business. We're trying to make a living here.
And they're all kind of like gesturing, like, what kind of interruption this could be. And as you're like talking and trying to like choreograph the story, you overhear like a couple of these other they just looks like regular people who probably were just buying food or something like that. And like they mention like a particular type of swamp flora, like not a flower so much as a plant. And they say that like that's the only thing they've ever smelled that gave off that kind of stench. And the only people who really ever get that stench are those who like kind of travel or linger in the swamps too long, the swamps outside the city.
And Fortuna just kind of angles a little bit so that she's kind of listening in on this conversation and kind of making notes of all of that. And then she'll go back to Marcel and I am so...
Is there anything else I can do for you, madam?
I'm so very sorry that I needed to do this to try to occupy you, and she'll kind of drop a point for repairs.
You're not in the wrong. No, it's fine. It's fine.
And she'll just sort of lay it on, kind of the stand and take her leave at that point. I'm so very glad to see that you are still doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll cut a little later, and we'll be back at the main wall and manor, which honestly hasn't it's not been great. Like it's certain things are kind of falling apart here and there. This is not uncommon. Things are falling apart. Like one of the sub basements was lost. It was kind of got flooded here and there, and some of the plants and such that were kind of planted here and there didn't really grow back. So it's kind of been a little bit of a slide in terms of upkeep. And we'll say that Arkadiy and Solovita arrive at roughly the same time. Maybe Solovita, you're like kind of limping up to the gates to go onto the grounds, and Arkadiy, you manage to slip out of the shadows, and you can see Solovita, and she is clearly bleeding and in pain. She's sneaking out of like some small little alleyway herself, and the two of you kind of just happen to bump into each other at this point. One thing you both noticed though is that one of the gates, the side gates to the estate, is open, and you can see that one of your house guards that normally would be standing attention on the street is instead, you can see like a couple boots sticking out of it looks like a hedgerow on the other side, and you can tell that they are either sleeping or they have been sort of knocked out in some particular way. And that's what the two of you see as you see each other at the same time.
It was really...
You look quite the woods for wear.
Yes, I was attacked a moment ago, and I was really hoping I could rest and lick my wounds, if you will, but yeah, I think the attack may have gone to just more than me. There's probably a dead guard over there.
Indeed, I was also attacked down recently. Let us ensure that our cousin Fortuna is not inside and in peril.
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to be much help. A strong wind will literally knock me out right now. Please go ahead and do that. I did. The two of my attackers, I turned them to statues so we can investigate their faces later if need be, I guess. They're in Chauncey's inn, just on the main floor. Luckily, they locked it before trying to trap me in there and kill me.
Well, stay behind me in case your magic is needed.
Yes, okay. Not much of that left either, but yep, I used a lot. Let's go.
You look much tougher than that, Solovita. You'll be fine. Arkadiy pulls out his sea axes and starts to make his way over towards the collapsed guard.
Okay, you go over to the collapsed guard, and you can tell immediately that they have been killed. And mostly it's because their head has been collapsed inwards on one side, as if some sort of heavy mallet or some other kind of like mace-like weapon has kind of collapsed his skull in and just splayed the blood to one side. You notice grimy footsteps on the lawn that you can see almost makes the lawn look kind of sodden and almost like swampy in places as you track the footsteps kind of up to one of the windows into your manor, and you can see the window itself has been kind of thrown open.
Arkadiy, before we get too far, I just had a thought float through. If you keep going, check to see who's around and who's doing well. I think we should do the thing that you recommended 5 years ago when we ended up with a bit of a mess. I might go get the town guard. There's quite clearly been an attack here. And I am very obviously been attacked.
This is a good idea. I mean, here in this neighborhood, city watches, they're everywhere. Grab them, bring them back.
I'll go do that. You keep going. I will meet up with you, and if I see anybody else come in, I'll point them to you or keep them outside.
It depends. If they're of good use, I mean, definitely send the watch.
Okay.
Arkadiy smacks Solovita on the back. Cousinly.
Right on the wound.
Okay. You do good.
Okay, well, I'm going to go get the watch, and hopefully one of them can stop some of the bleeding.
Solovita, you depart the grounds, head off by yourself into the neighborhood, looking
well, don't
flag
say it like
down.
that.
I had to, right? So you fly down. And you see
Fair.
Arkadiy, do you like kind of go in through the window? Do you go in a normal way? Okay. With your vigilance, what you notice as you move through the rooms and the halls is you see signs of violence almost every step of the way. You see, broken items. You see whether it's like display artifacts, whether it's paintings that have been slashed and fallen off, or furniture that's been tossed aside and splintered. You notice blood. You see the signs of struggle, and then you come to what looks like a series here and there of piles of salt on the ground. These big piles of salt. You count like 1 and 5 and 7 and then 12 in total. And when you reach like the dining area, and you go to push the door, but you realize it's been barred, probably from the inside. You think maybe your family held up here, and that's the only place that you can't quite in. And you hear from the other side the familiar sound of Althavira's voice, just kind of shouting out. She's like, "Get away from here, you brute! Get away, you brutes! We're ready for you. We'll get you. We're armed. We're armed. We've taken out some of you. Take out the rest." And she's and you can tell like her voice is kind of faltering, but you recognize the voice for sure.
Your cousin, it is Arkadiy. I believe that the villains have fled the manor. I have found no sign of them within the halls.
Oh, Arkadiy! Oh! And then you hear like whisper. Who's Arkadiy? And so it's like, Fortuna's dog. Oh, Arkadiy! Yes. And you hear the sounds of stuff being moved on the other side. And as it opens up, you can see there's Altavira, there's Pelletier, there's a few other like servants and a handful of other members of your family. And you can see like Pelletier comes. It's like, oh, well, good. Thank you so much. And he kind of comes up, kind of gives his hand, like shakes and like, I'm a good boy. Good boy. Kind of pats you on the side like an absolute idiot. Oh,
Arkadiy pats him right back on the back with enough force to make him feel unhappy.
You're very strong. Very strong.
Oh, forgive me. I sometimes I forget my strength. You know, us hounds, we not so smart. But I tell you this. Not only was Manor attacked, Solovita was attacked in street. She has gone off to find City Watch, and I was attacked as well. Have you seen Fortuna or Chauncey?
You can see like their faces, like Altavera. When you mention like Fortuna, like there's like a kind of an eye roll. No, I'm sure she's off gallivanting, doing whatever it is she's been doing lately. I know she's scheming.
Well, dear cousin, if the house was attacked and we were all attacked within the city, it's likely that she may have been attacked as well.
Wait. Did you check the matriarch's chambers?
I have not been there yet. I stopped here when I heard you were locked in.
And like you can see like her eyes get like really wide and she's like, oh dear. And she like races out and you can see like there's like a train of servants following her as she's like waddling through the halls.
Arkadiy gets ahead of her slightly and he's like, when we get there, allow me go in first in case villains are there. I would protect your life with mine.
And she says, well, yes, that's actually a very good idea. Off with you, out in front. You climb up the stairs. You get to like the second level. You go down like this hallway. There's all these paintings and statues and things that depict various members of your family's lineage. And you see at the far end of the hall, there's this very ornate set of double doors, one of which seems to have been pushed open. You can see that there are two dead house guards on the ground, and you can see that there are a couple piles of salt as well. When you... yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Arkadiy would push his way through the doors, you know.
You push through, and you see empty chambers. You see no signs of any more bodies, no signs of piles of salt, but you also don't see any sign of Eliana IV, your family matriarch, who is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 115 years old.
The matriarch does not appear to be here.
And you just like hear Altavira just go, she just like screams at the top of her lungs, like this blood-curdling scream. And it just kind of echoes throughout this marble hall and all throughout the manor. And that's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to end for tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
Promotion time, Fortuna.
it was such a nice day.
Time to drink that swamp blood.
I forgot, by the way, you guys, I always forget to do this, but you guys would have had some refresh tokens. Chauncey, you would have had, there would have been 4 from you. So Levita would have had 2 from her, and then 2 more from Fortuna. So there would be, was that 8? There would have been 8 to play with for your general abilities if you wanted to use.
We're going to need
any of those.
And the
Yeah.
refresh.
We spent some stuff.
Yeah,
So you have 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do a
But
piece?
Wow.
Sounds good.
Wow.
Well, we're back.
We
That
are.
was yeah. Okay. That was challenging. Okay, so there we go. That's first. That's the first step. We'll see what happens next. We'll see who these people who are trying to kill your family now. As I feel like that's going to be the running theme with every arc. Someone's going to be trying to.
Somebody trying to
I feel like that's.
We're
I
so
think it makes
good,
sense.
though.
Here's
We've
a
not
duck.
done anything for at least
We're
5
such
years.
good
For at
people.
least 5 years, we've been really good.
Or,
It's so
we-
good.
We haven't been caught doing anything really bad.
Exactly.
At least.
It's been
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's been fine.
I got Chauncey's in some new statues for
It
it.
was so funny. It's so funny. He's gonna walk in, and there's gonna just be like 2 statues just standing. Ready to
Position them and find a way to like costume them or something.
Yeah.
So funny.
We got
Oh,
some,
goodness.
we get a good look at their tattoos, a good look at their faces.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's really smart. It's really smart. Okay, well, that is it for this week. We'll pick up next week with more Swords of the Serpentine. Why don't we do some closing plugs, and then we'll get on out of here. I'm going to toss to Aaron first. Aaron, do you know what's going on over on our friends at Garblack?
Absolutely. So next week on Tuesday, over on Garblack Games YouTube channel, Pete will be starting their Hyperborea campaign. That's that. I think it's the newest edition of the OSR system. So that should be a lot of fun. And then on Thursday, Lewis will be back with some more One Ring as their party of dwarfs make their way through Moria.
Fantastic. It's so awesome. Those are great games. One Ring, Hyperborea, getting Lord of the Rings, getting Conan. It's all fun. Awesome. All right. Well, as for the rest of us, what do we got going on tomorrow night? Aaron is going to be hopping back into the seat. We're going to be playing some more Dragon Banes. You can see a couple of us here. I don't know if Long will be there or not yet, but Ashley will be there and the rest of us here. Saturday, hopefully we're doing some Han Cluster. There might be a scheduling glitch. So we'll sort of announce that on the Discord if something has to change. Monday, Otherscape. Where you can see the top row here playing through some Otherscape. We should be starting up a new arc then as well. And then Tuesday, we've got, what do we got? What's it called again? As a Perils and
Princesses, where we get to watch Jeff be a princess with Melissa and Aaron. Sorry, Jeremy.
We are very pretty princesses.
We're very, I am uniquely pretty. I'm like uncommonly pretty or something like that. So that's one of my traits.
And you are a bundle of sticks.
Covered in gravy.
There's range.
That was so funny.
And apparently people don't like me pulling berries off of my face. I thought it was going to be adorable.
Keep feeding us your beauty moles.
I was thinking maybe you were leaning in like the horror side of things.
I wasn't. Yeah. It was just...
That's not normal.
Yeah. It's a little odd. I also should mention our buddy Steven Huckleberry. He's been working on this really, really hard. If you like cinematic action horror Western games, huckleberryrpg.com. You can also get it up on drive-thru. Recently just put out an update with a new adventure, and there's another one coming very soon. I think in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be another new standalone adventure that's going to be releasing. So he's got a lot of different releases planned for this year. So take a look at that. We are going to raid Blackwater D&D. They are playing Triangle Agency, which seems like a really cool game that maybe we'll play here someday. So follow raid. Thanks for watching this. If you're watching this later or listening to this later, we appreciate you as well. But that's about it. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
See ya.
She forgot. I don't even know.